Alrighty. Hey everyone. Welcome to our Thursday live and happy Thanksgiving week. We are super excited to be on here with Oscar. We were supposed to do it last Thursday, but technology is not always fun, so we switched it to today. But I'm super excited. Usually I give a little intro, which I will as well. But Oscar, do you want to tell a little bit about your role with NiceJob and kind of what NiceJob is?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a partnerships manager here. And NiceJob, for those who have no idea what NiceJob is, we're a reputation marketing company. And if anyone hears that and thinks, well, I still don't know what you do. Simply put, we help home service business owners across the US and Canada just get way more online reviews and kind of all the benefits from having more reviews. So growing their leads and sales.
Yes. NiceJob has been a partner of Jill's office for a really long time. I don't even know how long, but we use NiceJob ourselves. It's super helpful and super nice. So yeah, I'm excited to talk a little bit more today. And then joining us is Michelle. She's kind of loading on. Most of you guys know her. She is our head of business development here at Jill's office. So she kind of handles the day-to-day and makes sure things are running smoothly for account managers and our sales team. Hey, Michelle, I just introduced you.
Thank you.
What a fun surprise. I was told you weren't coming. I'm overjoyed.
Well, of course, Oscar. I'm here with you.
Love it.
I was hoping for the turkey suit.
I know. I just remember 5 minutes before coming on, like giving this big chat, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah. Next time we'll have to do it again because I was really looking forward to that too.
I do have this crazy mustache.
I know. We'll let that pass. That's pretty.
I'll count that for something for sure. Awesome. Well, yeah, we're super excited. For those of you that don't know, we're going to be talking. Well, Oscar is going to be talking about a three-step approach to getting more reviews, more leads, and more sales for your home service business. Which is for all those of you that are listening, that's super huge because that's literally all of your business is bringing things in like that. So Oscar kind of already introduced himself on the NiceJob side of it, but just a little intro of him. He gets his kicks out of helping business owners understand the massive power that reviews that reviews and an awesome online presence can have for your revenue and profit. Oscar is a proud Brit living in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, where he plays beach volleyball badly and skis as much as possible.
Big time.
I can attest to that. I love beach volleyball, but I'm so bad at it. Like I'm the
it's
person
hard.
who's like, someone stand close to her and get the ball.
You got like both ends of the spectrum, the summer and winter sports.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Got to keep busy.
Yeah. My problem is I only like the summer. I just haven't gotten into skiing or anything. So this is I need to get a love because then you're always happy, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
That's true. Michelle, you like dread the winter every time it comes around.
Everybody knows.
That's true. Awesome. Well, now that we know everyone and we're feeling a little comfortable, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Oscar and dive right in. And so, yeah, I'll turn it over to you, Oscar.
Thanks, Kaylin. I think what I'm going to do is just share my screen for a brief bit, just to kind of introduce why this is important, because I've got a few kind of interesting slides. And then I don't want to turn this into like a full webinar vibe. So I'm then probably going to stop sharing my screen and we can kind of chat about the rest of it. But bear with me. I drastically simplified my computer situation to make this really easy. So this should be seamless. How's that? We're up and running.
That looks great.
Great. So yeah, here's my title. I'm going to move all our faces out of the way so I can concentrate. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to do is just briefly introduce NiceJob. I kind of gave you a bit of an intro already, but we're a reviews company, so I'm going to let other people tell you who we are, because I like to kind of eat our own cooking, if you know what I will. So instead of me telling you about NiceJob, let's hear from Greg and Nicholas. So Greg, he's received over 400 five-star reviews since February. And you can see I picked this review out literally last week before we had a couple of weeks ago before we had our technical difficulties.
We kind of chat about the rest of it.
And yeah, so I just heard my voice over my headphones and it freaked me out, but we're in good shape. And then Nicholas, so he says NiceJob has made getting reviews easy for my business. It was also easy for my customers. I wish that I had this a year ago. the reason I did this was to kind of introduce to people the idea of it's so much more powerful to have other people talk about your business than it is for me to talk about my business. I love introducing kind of any talks I do with customer reviews. It adds way more trust, way more social proof right from the outset. And it's just like, okay, it's not just Oscar telling everybody about how great his company is. There's actually other people, other real people that have tried it. And look, they also agree with him. So now I'm going to listen. So it's kind of like that really easy approach you can try and apply to your own business marketing from the outset, is maybe think a little bit less about what you're saying to the world and just kind of use the voice of your customers a bit more.
So true. Oscar, I have to tell you, I was driving home late last night from the city, and one of the billboards, it was just a testimonial. And I was like, they nailed it. Cause I think that's so effective, even for billboards. It's like, yeah. Others are going to say it better than you, because you're going to trust what other people are saying.
Yeah. And it's so memorable, and it's stuck in your head for an extra day, which is probably more than most of the other billboards on that drive.
Yeah.
Right. So why reviews? I kind of wanted to just touch on this first. Like, obviously, from what we've just said, they're super powerful in terms of building additional trust with customers. But I want to kind of go back a bit further and just kind of talk about the massive impact that reviews now have in kind of how people even acquire leads and acquire customers. So this is just a Google search I did literally last week. I'm in Vancouver, and I just searched painter near me. And what happens now, and this is probably, what most of your customers are doing, or potential customers, there's one of either two things, and I'm going to cover the second thing in a moment. But the most common is they're just going to go onto Google. Either something goes wrong, or they suddenly decide they want to go, they need a project that needs doing, and they just search painter near me. And then what happens is, when you do that search, God, I thought I had my glasses on then, but I don't. Is the first things that come up are usually ads. So there's like 3 or 4 ads at the top of the thing. I always just scroll straight past them. And then the next thing you hit is this, which is this, what's called the Google 3-pack. It's this Google Maps situation. And then they put an ad at the top and then 3 suggestions that match your search. And I don't know the stat, but it's some crazy high percentage of business gets done from these top 3 numbers. And so if you're not in the 3-pack in your area, you need to try and do whatever you can to get in. And some of the things that you can do to get in is get more reviews. Nobody really knows. Hey, Nicole.
Hi.
Nobody really knows exactly what goes into kind of Google's algorithm and how all that kind of computer stuff happens. But a massive factor in appearing in these top 3 is how many reviews you got, what's your rating, how recent are the reviews, and then some other stuff like, are you replying to them? Is your website loading fast? Have you got a phone number? All those sorts of things. And so these top 3 guys in the area are going to get the lion's share of the business. And the guy with the most reviews, Wow One Day Painting, I didn't even know this, but they're a NiceJob customer. So great stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? I attest to that though. When I'm searching for help for my home, I like almost always call just based off that list, and I look for the one with the most.
Yeah.
Nicole actually has a cleaning business.
Oh,
how
awesome.
many leads do you get? Because you pull up on the top. I know that's one of the first things you did when you started, is just like, I'm gonna get the reviews.
Yeah, for sure. I was trying to get as many as possible. I think today I was actually checking, so I think we're at 58.
Ooh,
so I'd love
stuff.
281 though. That'd be awesome.
Well, talk to me
I
afterwards.
mean, you only started what, a year ago?
It's been a year this month. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you get a lot of calls just based off it appearing up here, right?
Well, that's usually why people, because we show up near the top. When we do like local Google services too, but we do show up closer to the top, and people always call. And when we ask them why they decided to call us, it's always because of the reviews. And I mean, even from the very beginning, we only had like 5 reviews, and people were like, you have the best reviews.
I love it.
I don't think they could see there was 5. They just saw 5 stars. And so I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first things we started working on, was reviews.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I borrowed this phrase off another marketing agency that I met at an event this year, but they were talking about how reviews, they help you get found and chosen, which I thought was cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Let me write that down.
But
Well,
yeah,
Oh,
Go on,
sorry.
Michelle. No,
I
go
was just
on.
gonna say the fact that people were commenting that when you only got 5, that attests to the power of even just, for those
Yeah.
businesses that maybe don't have as many, that's okay. I mean, even if you just have 5 good ones, people are gonna notice and they're gonna read them. And if people say good stuff, then it really attracts people.
Yeah.
100%. You definitely got to start somewhere. And I had this like funny story of my own life is that I had a car breakdown this summer when my parents were out visiting. We were in the middle of nowhere on Vancouver Island, kind of not really a breakdown, but something as bad noise started happening. And the moment I got back into, cell service, I literally just did this. I was like, mechanic near me. I don't even remember the name of that business. I just know they're in the top 3. I read a bunch of reviews and I picked up the phone and called them. And I just think that is the kind of the modern buying behavior. And so you kind of have to be where your customers are, and reviews help you get there. So that's my kind of the first half of my pitch for reviews. The second half is actually something that I picked up from a guy I did a recent kind of call with, and it's kind of a point he made, which I thought was amazing, which is this kind of idea that back in the day, a lot of the way people would attract business was this kind of water cooler conversations at work, right? You'd go in and you talk to your community face to face, and you're saying, hey, I need a cleaner, I need whatever. And they would give you recommendations. That now exists on online communities. And I mean, it's an obvious point, everybody knows this, but I kind of hadn't really connected the dots before. But all these kind of local, neighborhood communities exist where people, WhatsApp groups or whatever, where people go on and post for recommendations, kind of like what's happened here. But usually it doesn't stop there, right? If I get a recommendation, sure, I trust that person's judgment, but I'm not going to leave it there. I'm going to hit them into Google. I'm going to look at their website and I'm going to read their reviews. And so it's kind of being part of that cycle. And so in my mind, if you have a service business, you have to take care of these 2 ways of attracting new leads and new clients, and reviews play such a big part in both of them.
Absolutely.
I think that's going to be, let me just see if I've got anything. Yeah. Well, I wanted to just say, like, that's the major part of why I'm so obsessed with reviews. There is more stuff, and we're not going to get on the time to talk about all of this today, but reviews do so much. And our clients tell us this the whole time. Like, if you've got amazing reviews, you don't have to compete on price with loads of other people. If you've got, 55-star reviews and somebody's coming and they said, oh, well, they can do it for $20 cheaper. You'd be like, well, look, I do a really good job. All my reviews tell you I do a really good job. The price is the price. And our customers tell us that the whole time. Team culture, I speak to customers the whole time who, they've wanted to get new techs in or new staff, and it's a competitive landscape. There's tons of people out there. There's also a talent shortage out there at the moment in kind of home services. And actually pointing to your reviews and saying, like, look at what we do for our customers. Our customers are so happy. We've got a really great environment that's based around doing the right thing for our clients and showing that to the world. It's an amazing hiring tool. I kind of combine both of those, right, in my second and third point. But it's amazing for what it does internally with kind of, it takes the recognition and away from other metrics and towards how can I do the right thing for customers. And then you can use that as part of your recruiting and hiring. And then marketing content. I'm going to talk about this a bit later, but if you're running a business, thinking about new marketing and new content to put out is just another thing that takes up a ton of time. And it's another just massive effort. And reviews are just a really simple way. And exactly like you said, Michelle, you can plaster them up on a big billboard. And you don't have to think about that at all. You have the content even just produced for you.
Okay, I'm gonna do my own NiceJob testimonial here.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of marketing content, one of my favorite tools NiceJob does, not aside from NiceJob itself, which we at Jill's office use and we love it to get reviews ourselves. But I love that tool you guys have built where it does the reviews in the bottom, the bottom part of your website, that little pop-up. Phenomenal. I love that feature. I think it's such a great sales. And then the other cool thing that NiceJob does is you can directly integrate your reviews on your website. They have a code, so you don't even, you just post the code in onto your website, and it will have all those reviews automatically put on there. And man, on your website, it's got to have reviews plastered everywhere. It really does, because that's what sells. And so I love that NiceJob not only helps you get those reviews, but gives those tools to help market them on your website. And then also on Facebook and social media, automatically it will post those good reviews for you. You don't even have to think about it. So incredible tools that you guys have created, not only to capture the reviews, but to share them. And I love that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you have just touched on the third prong of my 3-step approach. So,
We didn't plan this.
oh, exactly. But it's just a little teaser. This is why people have to stay right to the end. But if everybody's okay, I'm going to dive into that approach. And, my main barometer for success here is Nicole. I'm going to be looking at you. And every time I see, be like, oh, I'm going to write that down. I'm like, yes, this is a good point. But yeah, so in the 3 steps, we're going to talk about each one of these kind of individually, is the kind of what I see as the success of any kind of good review strategy. Is it has to be these 3 things. The first thing, it needs to be really easy for you as the business owner or your team to ask for reviews. The second thing is it needs to be really easy for your customers to actually leave them. And then the third part of it is it needs to be super easy for you to share your reviews and get them out there into the world. And the combination of those 3 things just equals awesome. So starting at the top, we're going to go through them in order. So the first thing, it needs to be really easy for you to ask for reviews. Now, this I think is, one of the biggest things when we talk to people who come to NiceJob and they're wanting to do something about their reviews. The biggest thing that I hear is, it usually comes down to time. Like everybody knows, I think at this stage, the most people know that reviews are really important. They know that they really want to get them. And there are 2 things I think that it boils down to. People say, I don't have the time to ask or follow up with people. I'm an owner operator. It's just another thing that I need to get to. Or the other thing is sometimes people say, I ask, but people just don't do it. And it's really frustrating. I ask my customers to do it, but they just don't. That's probably the 2 most common things that we hear. And I think both of them in a way come back into this category, which is easy to ask. Now, the first thing that I will say is that like the success of any review strategy, you have to ask every single time. It needs to be a system. It needs to be a process. It needs to be something that is totally non-negotiable, apart from if somebody has been a horrible customer and you want to kind of not include them in any review process. But other than that, you need to have a system or process whereby somebody gets asked every single time. And the easiest way to do that is to automate it and to take the guesswork out and to not make it something that some of your team are good at doing it, some of your team are bad at doing it. You want it to be uniform and a systemized approach. I hear people talk about standard operating procedures, SOPs. You should definitely have an SOP for how you're going to be getting reviews. The second part is, I guess, planting the seed. So a lot of people think about, I just want to ask reviews right at the end after I've done the job, but you can start talking about it right at the beginning. And so again, you can include this in your SOP for reviews, but some of the most successful customers I've spoken to, they're talking about reviews in the estimate stage, or, when they're first onboarding customers, they say, hey, our goal as a business is to provide you such a great service that you leave us a 5-star review. If we haven't done that, we haven't done our job properly. And, you're setting that expectation right at the outset and getting people thinking about that process before you even started, which is a great tip. The next thing about making it easy to ask is you need to ask at the right time. Now, this varies industry by industry, and I think it's kind of, your business and what your customers, but the phrase you need to remember, and this is kind of like a slightly internal jargony phrase, but I love it, which is you need to ask at the moment of peak excitement. When are your customers like most happy with what you've done? So if you're a cleaner, it might be when they come back from work and they walk into the house and like, oh man, I'm so glad we got the cleaner in today. Or if you're a landscaper and you've done a bunch of work in the garden, you might want to leave it a couple of weeks before it kind of beds in. For the first week, it might look a bit weird and all the edges are really harsh and people aren't used to it. But if you ask for a review a couple of weeks later, once the borders are grown back, people are really excited. So knowing that for your business and making sure that you time that review request then is really important. And so a kind of a way NiceJob tackles that is that we have a lot of times, a lot of the companies that we work with, it's kind of when the job's done, is the moment when people come back and they look at it, they look at the new paint job, they look at their new house, they look in their kitchen, and they think, wow, this is awesome. And you really want to capitalize on that moment. And so once we have automation, that means that when the invoice goes out, it also triggers NiceJob. And so you're getting people right at that exact time, and you're asking them when they need to be asked. Next point on this easy to ask bit, and this is maybe the most important of all, is you have to follow up with people. And this is kind of the secret sauce behind NiceJob. This kind of goes back into what I was saying earlier about how, people say, oh, I ask people to do it and they just don't do it. Guarantee all of those customers just ask somebody once and then they just leave it. And I'm as guilty of this as everybody else, but people just have lives. They forget, they move on. I can't tell you the amount of restaurants I've been to where I've loved it and I've thought, I'm going to leave these guys a review. And by the time I've got the bus home or got an Uber home, it's just out of my mind. I have moved on with my life. It's not that I like that service any less. I've just forgotten. And so what NiceJob does is once we send that initial message, so we send a text initially to people to say, hey, would you mind leaving a review? Here's the link. When they inevitably forget, we have 3 follow-up emails that we send if as required, which is huge. And I don't know a single business owner, I haven't met them yet, who has time to follow up with each of their customers 4 times to leave a review. It's just not going to happen. And the other crazy stat is when you look at the numbers, when you go into people's NiceJob accounts, usually the text message is the best performing message because it's that whole peak excitement thing. After that, it's the 4th message, which is the best performing.
Really?
I
was actually wondering. Interesting.
It's crazy. And part of that is because, it's that additional reminder, oh man, I need to get this done. But also part of it is the wording. It's like a direct, hey, this is Nicole from Nicole's Cleaning Company. I've sent you a couple of reminders. Please, would you leave a review? And it's that kind of personal touch, which kind of pushes people over the edge. But it's that follow-up process, which is pretty huge. And then my last point is that, and this is kind of like a little hot tip. I had some red chili peppers next to this on my slide. Is where possible, include photos in your asking process. They're massive. If you get a little email or a text message that has in the text a photo of the work you did, that's going to trigger somebody to leave a review even more. And then the great thing is once you've got it and they send that review back, those photos show up on Google. So if somebody's looking at the review section on Google and they see a bunch of photos that go along with the review, again, super powerful, and just adds to that whole trust factor. They can actually see and look at the work you've done. We've whizzed through that pretty quickly, but that's my whole easy to ask stage. Any of you guys have any thoughts, questions, ideas that I can include?
Well, I just wanted to test it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nicole.
No, go for it. I'll hold it in my head.
I was just going to test how important it is to make it easy for them. We've mentioned a few times Jill's office uses NiceJob and it's super helpful. And what I love is that you can send your clients a direct link to it. You don't have to be like, hey, can you leave me a Google review? And then they have to go find you on Google and figure it out. And I think a little over a year ago, we did an incentive of see how many 5-star reviews we can get in a period of time or something like that. And we got a price for it. And when I first started doing it, I would just ask them hey, and it was obviously that peak excitement, after they were super happy with us or something had happened, and they'd be like, yeah, I'll totally go leave you a review, but it didn't end up happening, and I'd be like, oh hey, I didn't see that come through yet. But then when I realized you can have the link sent, it made it so much easier. So at Jill's office, we actually have, for those of you that use Slack and know what that is, it's just a chat room, but we literally have a Slack room called NiceJob, and we just go put a client in there that's happy with us, and then it makes it so that a NiceJob gets sent to them and they can literally just click the link, and it makes it so easy. And I feel it's made our what's conversion rate, I guess, of sending them out go up way higher.
Yeah, you're so right. Also giving a sneak peek to my next section. So again, good plug.
Wasn't planned. We're doing great at this.
We're in sync today.
Yes.
Go on, Nicole.
I had a question when you were talking about your red hot chili pepper tip.
Oh yeah.
I love that, including a photo. So are you saying that you can include a photo in your NiceJob request and it will upload to their review? Or
Yeah,
is
exactly.
the client having to manually upload that photo?
No, it's usually, we want to make it as less for the client to do as possible. It's kind of, it's part of the review invite stage. So if you were to go onto NiceJob, and we get a lot of people to do this, is that they make it part of their kind of like leaving the house process.
Right.
We got a guy called Dave, who's he does window tinting. And again, it's like a super visual thing, right? He'll tint the windows of these amazing homes. And he says he has two things he does at the end of every job. One is he sends the warranty or the guarantee or whatever it is. And the second thing is he gets his phone out and just takes photos, goes into NiceJob. And when you're on NiceJob on your phone, you just hit get a review, is this big blue button. And you just put customer name, customer phone number, customer email. And then it just says like attach photo. And you just go into your library on your phone, attach those photos, and it just goes off. And then those photos, they get sent to the client, which makes them more amenable to leaving a review. They then appear, if that client leaves the review on Google, they appear on Google. And then
so cool.
Yeah, and then they also go on the widgets. And so if you've got those widgets installed on the review section of your website, and all of those reviews have attached photos, it's good stuff. And then, you've got the social sharing. The more you can get these photos out there of your work, the better.
That's awesome.
I didn't really do all that. That's really
I
cool.
didn't realize you could put the pictures in, but it could link to the actual review without the client having to download the photo, upload it with the review. Because that's something I've been wanting, is for clients to actually upload, their own photos. Obviously they don't. What I've realized is when you're cleaning homes, people aren't like, I'm going to show a picture of my dirty toilet and how clean it is after and share the before and after. No, that does not happen.
You're on my seat.
What does happen is if we leave gifts, people will take photos of like the gifts that we leave and like
nice, yeah,
stuff, and they'll share that. But this is genius. So I love that.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
great.
Game changer for sure.
Yeah. And I don't want to make this too much of a NiceJob is great kind of I could if you want me to, but I'm not. I want to make it kind of like tips for that anyone could use. But one thing I will say that is awesome about NiceJob is that those follow-ups I was talking about are kind of software in the background. We know who's left a review and we know who you've asked. And so what that means is if somebody leaves a review after the first text message, we're not sending any of those follow-up emails. So people sometimes worry like, oh man, you're going to send like 4 emails to people even after they've left a review. But the cool thing is that we can actually automatically stop them from getting any more messages once they left the review. Which is pretty cool.
I love that. And I love it you have a lot of clients that usually that have recurring service. We have, our service is a little different than, your standard home service, because again, we hopefully service our clients over several months for a long time. But what I love about it too is sometimes we don't know if we already sent them one, so it will tell us and block us if we already asked them and if they already left one. So I love that about NiceJob too.
Yeah, there's like this little cool down period, and you can change that. So if you wanted to make sure you invite somebody once a year, just to get like a pulse check on if they still love your service, then you can set that up. You can do it once every 6 months, whatever. But with that,
can I ask a question on that? How does that work on Google? If they already left a review, does it, and then they want to leave another one, does it just leave another review, or does it update the original, or how does that work?
That is such a good question.
Good question.
And I do not know the answer.
I'm excited about that. We will look into that to find out. I'm curious how that works.
Yeah, and however I can get, once I get it, however I can get the answer out to people, whether it's in the comments of this or whatever, I will. But yeah, you're
doing great. It's my mission to stump you, Oliver, because I don't think I can. So I feel like I earned my turkey.
You've exposed the floor of my knowledge. But yeah, I'm going to talk about the second part, which is there's less to it, but Kaylin, you're absolutely right. The second part of this the kind of pathway to success and reviews is making it really easy for your customers. Everything that you said is so right. And I see the inverse of this happening way too often, where people send out things like feedback forms, or they use really obscure platforms that require somebody to kind of like log in and create an account to even do the thing, or they just send a text saying, hey, would you mind leaving us a review, with no actual and it just requires that person to be a little bit more proactive and go find it and all this sort of stuff. And I can tell you, A, from experience, and B, just from the data, that the moment you put any kind of barrier in front of somebody to leave the review, just makes it so much more likely that they're just not going to bother. And again, it's nothing people end up having like a kind of love-hate relationship with reviews and finding their clients really annoying because they're not leaving the reviews. And it's nothing to do with that it's just a behavioral psychology thing. And I guarantee that business owner that's getting annoyed with their clients not leaving reviews would do exactly the same thing if they were put in the same situation or using some other service. And so, yeah, you're totally right about NiceJob. And I think it could be NiceJob, it could be anything. What you really want to do is you want to reduce the number of barriers to somebody leaving the review. You want to get them as quickly as possible to Google, to Facebook, to wherever, whether that's like, whether you're in a restaurant and you have a QR code right there that leads to Google, or you do something like that with your, I've seen people have shirts on their crew which have a QR code on the back which leads right to Google. Like that sort of stuff is great. And the way NiceJob does it is it's literally just a link. You just hit a link. It's a 2-click process. You hit the link, which takes you to the page where you get to decide where to leave a review, be it Google, Facebook, Homestars, whatever. And you click that link and then you're right there. And the whole thing takes honestly 20 seconds. And I think that along with the follow-up process is one of the key reasons why we help people get so many reviews. But it has to be, even if you're doing it DIY, you have to have this principle in there that you need to make it as easy as possible for your customers. Let me just check my little slides to see if I had anything else to say on this.
Any more pepper?
Any more? Yeah, like hot spicy peppers. Oh yeah, I do have some. So you want to give people plenty of options to leave a review. So some people, it's like, I only want Google, only want Google, only want Google, only want Google. But some people just don't have a Google account. And you don't want to block those people from ever leaving a review. Same with Facebook. So I think you want to have like a nice menu of options, and you can prioritize those. So for example, with NiceJob, when you go through to the page where you choose where to leave a review, it's like a list of different options, and people will always put Google at the top because Google's the most important, and most people choose Google, but you want to have backups. And so like the one thing that NiceJob does is it always has NiceJob as a backup for people. And it says, no account needed next to it. And so we always look at that. Some people get frustrated when they get a NiceJob review. And I'm always saying, well, look, that person just wouldn't have left you a review otherwise. They would have looked at it, put it in the too hard category and moved on. And so just by having that backstop, just to collect everybody that wants to do that is great. I've had customers come to me and be like, well, if you took that option away, they might find their Google login details and do a Google, and that just won't happen. It's just, you have way too, you're asking too much again of customers to expect them to go and do that. The easy route out in that option is just to not do it. And so having a backstop to collect those reviews is an important factor. And then the last thing I'll talk about, the last kind of prong of my 3-prong approach, is you need to make your reviews, you need to make it really easy to share and market them. So the first 2 parts of this kind of approach, the easy to ask and easy to leave, that's what's going to help get you all these reviews. And having more reviews is great for the reasons we talked about at the beginning. You're going to find more, you're going to get more leads, and you're going to convert more of the leads. And so, those 2 things together lead to more sales, leads to more revenue growth and all that sort of stuff, which is great. It's the name of the game. But, it's not all you can do. And it depends on how proactive you want to be as a business owner, how much growth you're really looking for. But I would always advise people not just to kind of be passive with reviews and just have them sitting there. Just do more with them. Because again, if you automate it and make it simple, you can do a couple of things on the front end that just mean that you're getting way more out of you. You're making your reviews work for you a bit more, which is kind of the name of the game. So the first thing you can do, like you said, Michelle, right at the beginning, is you got to get them on your website. I was using this kind of stupid boxing analogy recently. I call it the 1-2 punch, which is a bit aggressive. I need to think of a slightly different approach. But if you think about like the first punch being like, right, reviews get people to find me. They mean I show up on Google. If people are searching for a cleaner, they see, oh, wow, they got loads of reviews. I'm going to go check them out. And if sometimes they might call you straight away just from looking at those reviews, is great. But other times they might click on your website and just say, hey, I want to see a bit more info, maybe look at some pictures, blah, blah, blah. And then if you can, the kind of second punch is having them again on your website and making them really prominent and taking that principle we talked about right at the beginning, which is don't tell your kind of potential customers exactly how great you are. Use your existing customers to get that message across. And again, that's just only going to help your conversion. So you can do that in a number of different ways. You can stamp, like, this is my star rating on your website across all your different platforms, which is a really cool thing to do. It just builds that kind of credibility. You can have, again, I'm just using because this is what NiceJob does, but you can have widgets that have like a live feed to all of your reviews across all different platforms. And it kind of, we call it the stories tab, but it kind of creates this like never ending scroll of like, wow, geez, there are loads of reviews. Wow, they're all 5 stars. Oh my God, people really love this company. And then the other thing you can do is have the one that you were talking about, Michelle, which is so cool. We call it the engage widget. And I think it's something like Curtis knows this information. He's another guy at NiceJob. He's kind of like the OG, but he was telling me the other day, it's every 13 seconds to be precise. So what this looks like is you're on a website, you're checking things out, and then suddenly something will pop up in the bottom left-hand corner, and it'll say, Michelle just left us a 5-star review. And it'll say, an hour ago or yesterday or something like that. You can click into it and you can see the review. Another thing it can do is it can say, Nicole just booked with us. And it's just like, oh, wow, stuff's happening. If I'm on that website, I'm like, okay, people are using this company. They're not a scam. They're leaving 5-star reviews. Things are happening right now. I'm getting excited and I'm picking up the phone and calling them. And yeah, Michelle, how does that kind of description line up with your level of excitement for it?
Oh yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like when you're going to book a hotel and it's like, so-and-so just booked and you just, FOMO, right?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe there might not be any more reviews you can leave.
FOMO as in like, I don't want to miss out on all these people, that are loving this service, so.
And I'm horrible because I just want to see my name pop up on someone's website. So I'm totally the person that will buy something because I want to be on a pop-up. And I also want to leave a review to see if my name's actually going to show there. And so I do things like that all the time.
Wow.
That's my FOMO. I want to see my name on a website.
That is awesome.
Or a billboard.
A billboard would be better. You have a NiceJob billboard where clients could just pay monthly to show their reviews. I will leave them all reviews to see my name on a billboard.
So when NiceJob starts doing billboards, Oscar, you've got 3 people right here that
really want to be on billboards.
This is a whole new product line that we haven't explored.
We have great ideas at Jill's office, and we also
they've
have
got those
on billboards.
Yeah, they've got those digital billboards now. There's got to be that, that engaged chat widget. It's got to be able to connect with these billboards and just up the ante on what NiceJob
starts popping up just all over the place. You're just walking around like, oh wow, there they are. Nice. Okay, so widgets is one, website. So that's our first point. Get them on your website if you're not doing it. And the other thing I would say is that the benefit of widgets is that they're a lot more authentic. I've gone onto websites the whole time where people have these kind of reviews that live there forever, and they've kind of typed them up in the style of their website. And it's just got, Dave, customer next to it. And I always think to myself in the back of my mind, I'm like, did they really exist? Is that actually a customer, or is that just somebody that they've just written down, a review? Which I'm not knocking them. If you're starting out, you might just need to do that, which is fine. But I just think as a customer checking that website out, or as a potential customer, having widgets which link directly to Google or Facebook or wherever just makes them look so much more authentic. And you look at those and you think, oh, okay, these are actually real people. These are people like me. And that's kind of like an important trust exercise there. The second thing you can do proactively is get your reviews on social media. And again, this can feel like slightly a bit of an arduous task, because again, it's one of those things that if you're running a business and looking after a team and doing X, Y, and Z, see, I use the American pronunciation there. It's just another thing that you have to do. But again, you want to automate it where possible. So there's a cool thing about NiceJob is that every 5-star review that you get, 4 or 5-star, I think is how we set as a default, we'll automatically share that to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever your customers live. And again, the cool thing about this is that it's not only content you don't have to think about, it's content that people trust because it's not you talking about it. it's also, it's regular. It happens the whole time. So if your business is, happening, if you're serving customers every week, you're constantly getting a stream of this just content that you can share, and either it goes up automatically or you choose to do it. And the thing about success, I'm no expert, but the thing I think that's the key to success on these social media platforms is being regular. It's posting all the time. It's having your stuff out there, because it's not going to convert people straight away. People aren't going to suddenly see that and be like, oh yeah, I need to, redo my kitchen because I've seen this. But really what you're doing is that when they suddenly do think, oh, I need to do this project, you are in their head because you've been posting with what amazing reviews that you've got for the last, 6 months, day in, day out. So I definitely include that as part of your review strategy. And again, it needs to, wherever possible, the key word from this whole thing is easy. It needs to be easy to share them. Aside from that, there's tons of stuff you can do. And I just encourage people to get creative. If you're in a home service industry where you send estimates to people, include reviews on your estimates, have them on the piece of the paper that go out, have reviews on stash that you wear or swag that people have, have it on your bags, have it on your truck wraps, have it on your yard signs, have it on your t-shirts. You can put them everywhere and just really start kind of creating that external message to people, which is, we are a company that cares what our customers think about us and what they say about us. The best example of this is a client that I spoke to the other day. He's down in San Diego. He's got a plumbing company called Good Guy Plumbing, and they've been customers of NiceJob for years. And for them, they say they're good guys first, plumbers second. And the best way for them to display that is by having their reviews everywhere. And that's kind of why it makes such a lot of sense. And so I think that's a huge thing for people to kind of incorporate in their branding and marketing that reviews can kind of help with. Let me just check my slides again. I think I had all my great ideas. Oh, one more. The last thing I'm going to talk about on this is just referrals. And again, like the referrals is kind of like this extension. They're kind of in the same family. They're kind of cousins, reviews and referrals, right? Because referrals is a one-to-one thing. Reviews are almost more powerful, because you can have one review affect 10 potential customers. But if you run a business and referrals are really important to you, to that kind of word of mouth business, again, that it's really powerful. They're easier to close. They don't cost anything, referrals, which is great if you think about your lead acquisition channels. The best people to ask for referrals are the ones that left you great reviews. It kind of makes sense, right? If somebody's left you a 5-star review, you should be asking that person for a referral right there and then. And so reviews kind of open up that channel for you. And you can ask everyone. And again, you can definitely take that approach, and it's great. And you'll start getting referrals if you if you adopt some of the same tactics we have for reviews. So make it an SOP, making it easy to ask, easy people to give you them. It's going to work exactly the same way. But again, that, like with reviews, you want to identify the moment of peak excitement. Kind of works the same way with referrals. You want to identify those most excited customers. And so the way we look at NiceJob is it's those people that have left you those great reviews. And so what happens internally in our software is if you turn referrals on, the moment somebody leaves you a 5-star review, we send them a follow-up message saying, hey, thanks so much. That makes a massive difference. Would you mind giving us a referral or sharing this with any friends and family? And that's just another thing you should definitely think about as part of that whole strategy. Guys, I'm spent. That's my 3-pronged approach.
I love it.
That was awesome. First of all, I already knew NiceJob was super awesome. I learned lots of new things that you guys have and features, and reviews are just so important. I used to not look at them that much, and I can't remember what it was. I bought something or got something and it was absolute trash. And someone was like, well, did you look at the reviews? And I was like, what? No, why would I do that? And I went back and looked at the reviews, and I think it had 1.5, 2 stars. And I was like, oh my gosh, why did I get this? Everyone hates it. And ever since then, I always look at reviews, and because they're just so important.
You're a sensible person.
I'm super into photo reviews too, because if I find something that has amazing reviews, I'm like, I need to find a photo of something really real, especially purchasing clothes or shoes or things like that. I got to find the reviews, and not just all the other reviews, because I get skeptical sometimes. But I have funny stories. Like my husband, I love him. I shared this to my personal Facebook page, so he's going to see this. My husband always does research. He's the research king of everything. So, and he uses reviews all the time. And so we have, every time he has bought a car, he will review the dealership he wants to go to find the actual dealer, like the salesperson he wants to use with the best reviews. And he has no shame. So when we go and he asks only for that person, and he will only talk to that person. And then the craziest story is when we went to the Bahamas on a cruise, and he did research on where we were going to go to the beach and like our excursion. And so we get to the excursion and we walk there because he looked up everything on how to get there. And he's looking for a waiter, and the waiter comes up and starts talking to him. And he turns to the waiter and he's like, "Hey, are you so-and-so?" And he says the guy's name. And I was shocked because we're in the Bahamas. We've never been there. And he knows the waiter's name. And the waiter is like, "How did you know my name?" He's like, "Well, you have the best reviews on Google."
Amazing.
Like the waiter at the resort, like he asked for him by name and he would only work with him. So, I mean,
Hey, he's
that's social proof right there.
big time. And he's not alone. That guy I talked about just before, Robert from Good Guy Plumbing, one of their favorite things about NiceJob is we have this leaderboard feature where every time a team member is mentioned, it pings them in the leaderboard, and you can see who's got star rating, who's got the most reviews. And they use that massively on their team. They send out, they have a WhatsApp group, and every time somebody gets a review, they send out congrats messages. They've spiffed them, so they get, $10 or $20 or whatever for a 5-star review. But he was saying the guy who's the top guy, I think his name's Adamu, he's got 65-star reviews and just by himself. And they get people ringing up the whole time saying that they really want to work with him because they've read all the reviews calling him out personally, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to ask if you guys had some sort of gamify like feature in NiceJob. So that's cool to know.
Yeah. So there's that. And then the other one, which is quite neat, which is, I guess I could have put this as part of one of my spicy tips is there's a goal feature on there as well. And maybe I would put, if I was going to do this again, maybe I'd include this as part of the easy for your customers bit. It can be a really neat trick is to actually share your review goal with your customers. And NiceJob can do that. It can say, "Hey, we're this close to getting to 100 reviews or whatever in the messages." And it's amazing like how much people, once they're invested with you, you're doing the service for them, they're a happy customer, they want to help you out. And obviously leaving the review is one part of that. But if you're like, "I'm really trying to get to 100 reviews or 200 reviews," whatever your landmark is. We've had some NiceJob customers that recently got to 1,000, which is pretty friggin' sweet.
That's awesome.
But I think that's definitely a thing you can do with your customers because they want to help you out. They want to be part of these sorts of things.
I didn't know NiceJob could do that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. Well, Oscar, everything you have shared has been literally gold.
Love it.
So if you weren't sold on NiceJob yet, I don't know how you couldn't be now. I know we have the like little landing page or whatever. I'll put that in the comments right now. Do you have anything to say about that at all?
I got a big plug. Yeah, big plug. It's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which happens between now and the end of November. So we got a big sale on. If anyone's thinking about NiceJob, all of what I've talked about is $75 a month normally, which I think is a screaming bargain anyway. If one review a month is going to help you bring in a couple more customers, then massive ROI. But anyway, the amazing thing about Black Friday is that we're doing 75% off for your first 2 months, which is kind of mind-blowing. So you can try NiceJob for your business for less than $20 a month for the first 2 months, and you get a
smoking hot.
That is spicy deal, and you get 2 weeks free trial at the start of all of that anyway. So yeah, I think we're going to share a link or put it in a comment or however it works on a Facebook Live, and that'll take you through. And yeah, that's our Black Friday deal. It runs until November the 30th. But if anyone else has any questions, they can hit me up on Facebook or send me an email to oscar@nicejob.com, and I'll definitely help out.
We do have Paige Kimberly. She just commented and said, "What if you're currently a NiceJob user already?"
Oh, I'm so sorry, Kimberly. It is for new customers. Oh man, I wish I had something for you. All I can say is I appreciate you. and love the fact that you're a new customer already, but sadly we don't have anything going for existing folks.
Hopefully you learn some new features you might want to implement.
Well,
Nice job.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I would, yeah, I think the monetary value of some of the stuff I've shared today must be in the thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Millions.
Millions.
No, I mean, reviews can change your business. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
She said no worries. So you've still got her as customer, even though you're not giving her a deal.
Yeah, if I'd come on this and ended up net -1 clients, I would have been really upset.
That would have been very sad. Glad you're staying, Paige.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I put that link in the comments, so make sure you go check that out because that is a screaming deal that you don't want to miss, and only goes till the end of November. You said, is that right, Oscar?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Get moving.
Yes. So yeah, get on that right now, and everyone enjoy your Thanksgiving and enjoy the long holiday weekend. We'll see you guys all next week.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.